Hey guys, it's Rich with your Monday Spot in Pagan Perspective. This week we're talking about human remains and using them in our practice. But first I want to address a comment that was left on my video from last week whenever we talked about connecting with nature and having issues with that. I had one person say that time and money, whenever I spoke on not having time and money for planting and gardening and stuff like that, I wanted to clear some of that up. For one, here in Korea, I'm in a dorm, so I don't have the space, and yeah, so I don't have the area right now to do gardening. And whenever I'm back home, I don't have the time because I work a good, and if you hear that, I apologize, I work a good probably 60 to 80 hours a week between my small business and my work in the military. So yeah, I don't always have the time to actually dedicate to actually gardening and being in the garden, because if I garden, I want to be in the dirt. I want to be part of the whole gardening experience. So I did want to clarify that. I also had a comment by the same person that it's wrong to force my limitations on others, and they accuse me of doing this. If I ever put my limitations or any problems that I have on you guys, that's not my intention. My intention by these videos, and I think I can probably speak for the other hosts, if not, they can clarify that, but at least my intention is to give my perspective on any of the topics and to show how I relate to some things that may be going on in my practice or in my life that might coincide with what the person asking the question is going through, stuff like that. Not necessarily to put my limitations on you guys, just to say, hey, I have a similar issue that I have to work through, or that I did work through, and this is how I did it. It's to give you examples of how I got through certain roadblocks in this situation with the grounding and the gardening and being outside, the nature aspect, connecting with nature. It was more of the, I know where you're kind of coming from, and this is what I would suggest to maybe help you. It's not putting my limitations on you, it's merely giving you suggestions that if you want to proceed with these things, it's something that you can do. If you don't want to proceed with them, then you don't have to. Then, yeah. But anyway, that's kind of where I'm coming from on this. If I ever put my limitations on you guys, that's totally not where I'm ever coming from. So anyway, getting to this week's topic, it comes from our very own Danny. And I kind of love this topic. It actually speaks to a lot of different things. It's about using, or the ethics of using human bones in witchcraft. And Danny asks, would you want to discuss the ethics of using human bone in ritual magic? We could discuss it without talking about the current case and trending news below, but it might not fit into topic ideas either. Anyway, I'm going to talk on the topic, and there is a link to the wildhunt.org story that was posted. And yeah, it kind of fascinated me because the news article, and I only read it one time all the way through, the synopsis of the story is that in New Orleans, whenever they have floods, the cemeteries are above ground, so you sometimes have where bones come out of the caskets and the bones actually collect on the outskirts of the cemetery or around the cemetery or in the cemetery. They kind of just end up outside of the crypts. Apparently this is an issue that happens quite frequently, as this person states. This individual goes and they collect all these bones and everything, and they have more than enough for any of the ritual work or the spell castings that they want to do. And they offered to send these bones to other people as long as if they cover the shipping. And while that may seem like a nice, kind-hearted way of saying, hey, I'm giving out free supplies, it's actually illegal. So I don't support that part of it. I don't support the trafficking of human remains, of people that didn't intend for their bones to be used in a ritual way or for scientific means if they didn't actually state they want their bones to be used in that type of manner. However, if it was something like the person before they died said, hey, give my body to science, give it to a medical institution, do this, do that. If they said anything of that sort, I have no problem with the buying and selling of human remains. So that's where I'm at on that issue. As far as the trafficking of human remains, the trafficking of bones, teeth, what have you. I absolutely have no problem with it if the person intended their bones to not be placed in the ground or in a crypt for all of eternity. If their wishes were not to be put in a crypt or anything like that, then pretty much it's fair game within the scope of the law. I have no problem with that. I've actually eyed up a few human skulls that I would like to purchase one day, and I have not been able to purchase them because they are quite pricey. As far as using human bones in ritual, I actually have no problem with it. One thing, like I said, I want to buy a human skull one day to eventually replace the I don't even think it's actually crystal. I think it's actually a plastic that this one is made out of, and I don't know how well it's showing up on the screen, but I want a human skull to replace this one day, and I use that either whenever I want to connect more with my ancestors, if I want to connect more with what's called the death current. If you read Christian Day's book, The Witch's Book of the Dead, I believe it's called, it's actually a really good book, and I love some of the exercises that are in there. So I do suggest going to that one. I think I've mentioned it on a couple of videos before. I know I've probably mentioned it on my personal channel before. It's not your typical 101 type book. This is more of the middle advanced level. I don't even know if you'd call it really advanced level type of reading, but it's not your basic 101 type book, but it's about communicating with the dead, and that's one thing that I would use a human skull to do. So yeah, I have no problem using human remains in ritual work, and actually even more so, I don't have a problem with using human remains because of the relics. These are third class relics, so they are not actually bone or anything like that, but these are pieces of cloth that have touched the relics, or in some cases they're dirt or holy water from different areas. But I have no problem if I had a first class relic using it in my ritual pertaining to that certain saint. I would have no problem doing that. As far as some of the quote-unquote darker arts, such as cursing, binding, hexing, anything like that, I did a video on my personal channel, and I will try to remember to link to it below so you guys can see that. I have very strong convictions whenever it comes to cursing, hexing, binding, anything like that. I don't think it should be taken lightly, and as far as using human remains in that aspect, I don't know if I'd really be that comfortable doing it because it's something that I take so seriously. I don't know if I could do it lightly or would need the materials on hand at any given moment. I think whenever the moment arises, procuring those items would not pose a problem. I think I would be able to get them quite easily. So as far as that goes, I wouldn't keep human remains around for that aspect. Now, in terms of other remains, I actually have a skunk skull and I have a camel skull, and those are more decorative. I love the way they look. I actually want to do some workings with my camel skull whenever I get back and get all my stuff out of storage. So yeah, once I do that, I think I might maybe do a working or two, see how it goes with the camel skull in particular, because that is a type of energy that I really kind of jive with. So that one kind of speaks to me, doing some workings with the camel skull and the energy of camel. So as far as working with bones, no problem. As far as working with body parts in general, not really an issue. It just depends on what the working is for and what I really hope to achieve by using that type of material. Well, that pretty much sums up all that I have to say for this week. I don't believe we have a topic next week, the regular host. I think the subs are doing next week. So I will catch you guys actually on Samhain. So until next time, may you have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye-bye.